Hi, my name is Smakia, or actually known as Smacky Wacky, and welcome to my podcast. Yeah, welcome to my podcast. Welcome to Our History with Smacky. I'm sure, I don't know, like some of you may know me, some of you may not know me, but then again, my name is Smakia. And before I actually got into the episode and all of that, I just wanted to kind of introduce myself a little bit. So, yeah, my name is Makia. I am a student. I am 17. I was born in Ghana. And I really love history, right? And I realized that, well, actually, the reason for starting this whole podcasting was because I realized that a lot of Ghanaians didn't know about Ghana. Like, from my experiences with people in school, in Ghana, like, they didn't know anything about Ghana. They didn't know anything about Africa. Like, they're just there. They are just living. Like, some people legit don't even know who Yaya Santua is. And, like, no shame, right? Hey, wait. No shade. Yeah. No shade, right? But then, like, bro, come on. It's your country. You live in the country. Like, how can you, like, you have to know certain things. Do you understand? You have to know certain things about the continent that you live in. You have to know certain things about the country that you're from. Like, it's just basic. It's something that we should all, know. So I decided to start this podcast. Yeah, that's basically what this podcast is for. Just to share African history. And, like, don't even get me wrong, it's not like I know everything about Africa or I know so much about Africa, but I just felt like there was a need to educate young people in Africa about Africa. And so I've taken it upon myself to do that job and to educate myself along the way. So, like, I'm not a history professor. I just want to say that before we begin. So keep that in mind. Do with that information what you will. You understand? As you listen to the rest of this podcast episode. But today we're talking about the Ghana Empire. Why are we talking about the Ghana Empire? Because I'm Ghanaian. And when I was thinking of what the first episode should be, I was just like, why not talk about the Ghana Empire? But if you think the Ghana Empire was in Ghana, you're wrong. I'm talking about the Ghana Empire. It wasn't in Ghana, but it's the empire that Ghana was named after. And it's the empire that Ghana was named after. When Ghana gained independence back in 1957, Kwame Nkrumah, or I don't know, but they decided to name Ghana. They decided to name the Gold Coast Ghana. And so this empire, which was a very big empire, mind you. It was a very big empire. It started in the 4th century AD. So that's like 400 years after the death of Jesus Christ. But that whole system, the time system is even messed up. But we're not here to talk about that. But yeah, basically the 4th century AD, and right now we are in 2024. So that's like 624 years ago. So yeah, it possibly started in the 4th century, and it was one of the first great medieval trading empires of West Africa, according to Britannica. It was actually a very, very big empire, and it was located in West Africa, but not Ghana, not present-day Ghana. So present-day countries that consist of the area where it was is Eastern Senegal, Southwest Mali, and Southern Mauritania. The capital changed throughout the years, but then the capital that we know, like the capital that we know for sure, and that we know, I don't even know how to put it, but then, the capital that we are most aware of is Kumbi Saleh, which is in modern day Mali. and it was Kumbi Sali in the 11th century specifically. So this is like hold on. This is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is 700 years. Sorry, 700 years after the time that it was first believed to be created. 700 years after that, approximately, the capital was Kumbi Saleh. And most of the spoken languages in that empire was Mande. So that includes Soninke and Malinke languages, which are spoken today. And it was an intermediary between Arabs and the Berbers. Now, Berbers are pre-Arab inhabitants of North Africa. Anyway, so this empire, this Ghana empire, was an intermediary between salt traders and producers of gold and ivory at the southern part of West Africa. Notice how it says it's an intermediary between Arabs and Berbers, salt traders, and producers of gold and ivory at the southern part of West Africa, meaning where it was, people from Northern Africa and the Middle East, right? People from Northern Africa and the Middle East would come to this Ghana empire, and people from the west coast of Western Africa, that is modern day Ghana, modern day Togo, modern day Ivory Coast, would go up to the Ghana empire to trade. And so yeah, that's basically where it was. It was like the central hub where everybody came. Not really everybody, but it's a place where most people came. And by some ancient accounts, such as the French Maurice de la Force, it claims that the rulers were not black, but Arab or Berber. So there are some ancient accounts that claim that the kings of this empire, the past kings of this empire, were not black, but they were Arab. But this is wrong. Like, this has been proven by other ancient accounts to be wrong, to be completely false. I really don't understand what Maurice de la Force was trying to do, but anyway. So yeah, and it became quite rich and powerful by the 8th century, and most of the traders there converted to Islam at this time. Okay, so it became quite rich and powerful by the 8th century. That's about 400 years after it was first formed, and most of the traders converted to Islam at this time. So it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was like completely an Islamic empire at this point, but most of the traders that came in and out of the Ghana empire were Muslim. And it was popularly known as Ghana or the Ghana Empire because that was the king's title. That's kind of like Asante Hene or Oba, right? That was the name of the king. So the king was called Ghana. And Ghana means warrior or war king. And the kings were also called Kaya Magan. I feel like I might not be pronouncing this right, but hopefully I am. So yeah, the kings were also called Kaya Magan. And gold was the most valuable commodity in this empire, which actually makes sense because of its proximity to the western part, the coastal parts of West Africa, And the empire was ruled through traditional chiefs who weren't the actual king, right? But then they had to pay tribute to the Ghana, which is the king. So that's kind of like in some modern day traditional systems where there's a main king, there's a paramount chief, but then there are other lesser chiefs that manage smaller portions that make up the paramount chief's kingdom, right? And then they pay tribute to the Ghana. And I feel like that's even kind of like medieval. Okay, wait, no, let me not say something I'm not sure of. Okay, so yeah, and Mansa Musa was possibly the richest king they ever had in power. Now, I don't know how many of you have heard of Mansa Musa, but some of you must have heard of Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa was possibly the richest king they ever had in power, and I once watched this TEDx video on Mansa Musa, and his riches and all of that. And it was actually really crazy, bro. It was actually really crazy. And a system that they had in the Ghana Empire was an import-export tax on traders and production tax on gold. So that means that when you're importing stuff into our empire, you pay a tax. When you're exporting stuff, you pay a tax. When you're producing stuff, you pay a tax. That's kind of like modern day civilization, to be asking me. Like, I feel like that's kind of what's happening right now. And I think that really goes to show how much we copy from the past and how much there's really nothing new in the earth. Because this is from an empire that was created how many hundreds of years ago? This is from an empire that was created 1,624 years ago, where they were importing. They had import-export tax and production tax, and that's what's going on right now. So it really shows how there's really nothing new under the earth. Like, honestly. The main goal of the empire was to control trade in alluvial gold, which makes sense given their geographical demographics. And I mentioned before that gold was the most expensive thing in the empire, and it was their main goal, it was their main objective as an empire to control this gold. And this alluvial gold refers to tiny gold flakes or dust that came to be through water erosion. So more or less gold mined from riverbanks, which again really makes sense considering how close they were to coastal places. Like modern day Ghana, like modern day Togo, like modern day Cote d'Ivoire. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah. And to really understand the grandeur of the empire, so I'm going to read a description by a Mu who was living in Spain at the time, but I guess he came to visit the empire, and he's called Bakri. And this is his description. He sits in audience or to hear grievances against officials in a domed pavilion around which stand 10 horses covered with gold-embroidered materials. Behind the king stand 10 pages holding shields and swords decorated with gold. And on his right are the sons of the kings of his country, wearing splendid garments and their hair plaited with gold. The governor of the city sits on the ground before the king, and around him are ministers seated likewise. At the door of the pavilion are dogs of excellent pedigree that hardly ever leave the place where the king is, guarding him. Around their necks, they wear collars of gold and silver, studded with a number of balls of the same metal. And honestly, that's actually crazy. Like, when you read his description, I'm going to put it in the description, so that you can read it for yourself. But then, like, it's just so crazy. It shows how rich these people were. And I'm not even sure he was talking about Mansa Musa. He probably wasn't even talking about Mansa Musa, who was the richest. So at this point in time, it's some king, some Ghana, who, wasn't even the richest. But look at how much wealth he has. Look at the scenery. His dogs have collars of silver and gold. His princes, their hair is plaited with gold. Like, that's actually crazy. Even though there was much emphasis placed on gold, salt was also an important commodity traded through and monopolized by the Ghana Empire. So you need to understand how rich and how great this empire was. Not only did it monopolize, not only was it a place that really wanted to monopolize gold, but it had monopolized salt, right? Another thing that we have to understand about the Ghana Empire is that it took over an initially independent market in a Berber town, which is called Udagust. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but Udagust. It's probably Audagust. Yeah. Probably Audagust. And this Awood was originally an independent market, which was a center where North African traders bought gold from Ghana's kings. So it was originally an independent market in a Beira town, but it became a center where North African traders bought gold from Ghana's kings. Just to show you how much they had control over gold and how much they had control over salt and how much of an important part of history this empire is, not only to Africa, but to, I don't know what to say. But this just goes to show you how important this empire was and how great it was, where it wasn't just Africans trading with the Ghana Empire. It wasn't just Africans coming to the Ghana Empire to trade, but we had Arabs as well in there trading in the Ghana Empire, trading with Ghanas, right? And about the downfall of the Ghana Empire, there is much debate over whether the Almoravids, which is a Muslim military group of Berber tribes, actually conquered the Ghana Empire after many battles. So we are not really sure. Historians are not really sure. Trust me, I did the research. I checked and checked and checked. It seems like nobody's sure. Maybe there is a website where somebody's sure, but it seems like nobody's really sure that the Almoravids are the ones that actually conquered the Ghana Empire. We do know for sure that there were battles between the Almoravids and the Ghana Empire. And something that we know for sure is that the Ghana Empire eventually became a part of the Mali Empire, which is another great empire that came up out of Africa, right? And I will have the sources in the description below, so you can fact check me with the links in the description. Thank you so much for listening. See you on our next episode. I will be posting episodes every 2 weeks. Or maybe every week. I'm not really sure. I just want to pick something that's like sustainable, but probably every 2 weeks, because I feel like that is definitely sustainable for me. And that's enough time to do research, yada yada yada. So thank you for listening. See you next time. Bye.